a lot of suspicious stuff today.
Like, we'd have done it with our hands, not the pajamas. Like, what are you talking about, guys?
Obviously, you don't watch true crime. We just come with prepared facts, okay? When I could just strangle them and throw them in a parking lot.
It's crime, okay? It's not us. We're not serial killers.
We just think about what could happen. Hello, friends.
Hello.
We're here for the Bailey Banter. We have our top 5 of the month or week or whatever it is. I always forget. I'm so bad. But they're here. Yay! Congratulations! Keep up the good work. We want to see those posts. We want to see those looks. Speaking of looks, the monthly challenges. How are you liking the monthly challenges?
I really like the monthly challenges, and I especially like the fact that we don't base it on talent. It's just, you know, everyone can join in on every single look, even if you've never done makeup before or if you are a guru at makeup. And I'm just loving seeing everybody's like St. Patrick's Day and, you know, the green and it's amazing. I love it.
We had so many entries and I was like, yay! I absolutely love seeing everyone's interpretation of the looks that we put through. And like you said, it's not talent based. So
yeah, I just love the fact that we have, like you say, the interpretation of it, because what I see is different to what you see, but then I get to see your makeup look and I'm like, oh, I see where you went with it. Yeah. And it's amazing. I love it. We've got so many new people joining in as well, and it's amazing.
And are you going to be doing the non-dominant challenge?
I'm going to try. It was, do you know, I might do it in this call. I might do it on this.
Oh.
Don't know. So
let's get started with our makeup and get started into talking about the story.
And what a story. Oh my days. It was just one thing after another thing after another. And I was like, what is going on with this whole story? But yeah, the way it started was quite normal, I suppose you'd class it as. So there was the Alice Crimmins, and she was 18 or 19 when she married her husband. So I think she was 19 when she married Eddie.
And this took place in the 60s, right?
This was the 60s, yeah. When she got married was the 60s, yeah. And she married him because she wanted to be an independent woman. So she obviously married Eddie because then that got her out sort of into the world as an adult, I suppose you'd say.
Yeah.
And her and Eddie, the husband, had the first child, Eddie Jr. So they actually like had a son first and they named him after Eddie. So they had Eddie Jr. and then Alice followed. So they had a little girl called Alice. I think everything was like hunky-dory and everything was fine. And then she sort of decided that she wanted to be a little bit more sort of part of the world, I guess you'd say. To see what else was out there, and you know, like I think she kind of got bored with Eddie because he was going out drinking quite a lot and spending a lot of time with friends and things. So she was feeling quite let down in the relationship, I think.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff to her, and obviously back in the 60s it was, you know, the man goes out and work and the woman stays at home and looks after the house and the kids and all the stuff.
Right.
So she was sort of interested in going out and seeing, you know, what else was out there, I guess you'd say. And to be fair, she did, you know, by her own admission, become quite promiscuous. But,
yeah.
You know, I know back then it was like a huge thing, like, oh, women can't be doing that. It's fine for men to do it. And I kept noticing as well, they kept mentioning how she looked. They kept commenting on her appearance. Yeah. But they didn't mention Eddie's appearance. So why is it that we can speak about the woman's appearance? What does it matter what she looks like? It's irrelevant.
The investigators talked about her coming, or her saying, give me a minute, I got to get ready. If she would have just come down and looked a mess, they would have criticized her for that.
Yeah.
Like, so it was a double-edged sword.
Yeah. And I think that was the problem, is because no matter what she did, she was always in the firing line for this. She's got a couple of boyfriends and she's living in a separate house to Eddie and all that sort of stuff.
She's also working. Did Bailey mention what she did for work?
Yeah, she was working as a cocktail waitress.
Oh, okay.
Again, back in the 60s, that was like, oh my gosh, you're a cocktail waitress? It's a job. She needed money. She was a mom, you know?
And she was probably making very good money because she was dressed to the nines, like they said.
Exactly. And to be fair, they did say this girl, this Alice, was dressed up and everything, but she had a lot of acne scars. So, you know, people do it nowadays. People wear full face makeup, even when they just nip into the shops or something. But if you want to do that, that's fine, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they kept commenting on it, and that's what annoyed me quite a lot. Because
I think it annoyed Bailey a lot too, because she seemed pretty pissed about it.
There was no need for the comments that they were making, and it was just baffling. I tell you what though, when her and Eddie split up, she told Eddie like, hey, I don't want to be with you anymore, I want to go do my own thing, which is fine. He hated the fact that she was working, and he also hated the fact that she was in her own house and, like, you know, seeing other guys.
Yeah, they didn't mention what Eddie was doing, did they? Did she? I'm sorry.
Nobody mentioned it. It was the most bizarre. Like, he said that he went out showing himself to young girls in a park, and that was never brought up again. What do you mean? What do you mean you were showing yourself to people in a park? Very strange. He also wiretapped her phone, so he could hear all of her phone conversations. Because for some reason, he wanted to hear, you know, her have conversations with other guys, but then he'd get mad about it. But you're listening.
I've been in relationships like that.
So yeah, he did all this weird stuff where he was like wiretapping her phone. He put a wiretap from the basement to her bedroom so that he could hear everything that was going on in the house. Again, very, very strange. I found it quite bizarre that she locked her kids in the room, locked the door from the outside of the children's bedroom.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if, because she took the dog out for a walk. So I wonder if that was a thing that she did normally. Like, she'd wake up in the middle of the night and take the dog for a walk and didn't really want the kids to be in danger. Turn the stove on or something like that. Like,
she never gave one other than the Chubby Eddie thing. And it was like, okay, but just put a lock on the fridge.
Yeah.
Because fire hazards, you know, if there's a fire and you're out walking the dog, who can get the kids out because they haven't got a freaking key?
Weird things. Like, it's not unheard of to have locks on kids' doors. No, I mean, it's very weird and it's suspicious, but it's not uncommon. And there might be some child abuse going on, but
that's kind of where my head went, because I was like, that seems a bit strange to me, but then I don't know, like, where they grew up, maybe this was like a bad part of town, maybe it was
like there's an explanation for it.
There is somewhere.
What the police did, there's not really an explanation for that.
No, definitely not. Oh my days. It all became very weird. The night that she took the dog out twice was the night I found quite strange, because why would you take your dog out twice? Yeah. And then there was a time frame that didn't fit for me either, and she said she woke up at 2 a.m. She took the dog out, it was 3 a.m. She ran herself a bath, but she was in bed for 3:30. In a half an hour slot, you've ran a bath, you had said bath, and you've gone to bed. Like, I don't see how that can all work in a half an hour.
And she talked to Eddie at 3. He called at 3.
Yeah,
in the morning.
Bizarre.
And then she ran a bath, and then she was out by 3:30, supposedly.
Yeah, like in
But-
half an hour.
Yeah, but it's late at night. 3:30 seems like a good time. Like, sure, I did all of that stuff in a half an hour. When you actually didn't do, like, I spoke to my therapist for 2 hours and didn't even realize it. So time blindness is definitely a thing.
It may have been a time blindness thing. It may have been that she thought, you know, I've been half an hour when in reality you've actually been 2 hours, but you didn't notice that because time works differently at night as well. I don't know if you think this, but it seems to slow down for me at night.
Oh yeah, we don't think our night doesn't end until you wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
So we don't even consider 3 o'clock in the morning. It's still nighttime. No. If you don't go to bed till 3 a.m., you're still up all night.
Exactly, yeah. Eddie's given her a call at 3 a.m. And the reason he called her is because he said that he was wanting to talk about the what's
custody
the word?
case.
Custody of the children. Again, fine. Bit weird at 3 a.m. He's called her up. She says that he's called her up, right? So that corroborated, that worked. And then it was it the evening or was it the morning that she figured out that the kids were gone?
The morning. She went and checked on them and they weren't there and she couldn't figure it out. The window was open and she specifically remembered closing the window because the screen had a tear in it and she didn't want the bugs in. That is a detail that you remember. But they didn't say anything about the screen being removed or anything about the window.
The thing that annoyed me as well is the macaroni cheese thing. That was important. Remember the macaroni cheese. So if you know, gone into a crime scene and there's 2 children gone missing, the first thing you do is you take pictures of everything. And there was nothing. There was no pictures taken. So right from the get-go, they thought she'd done something. Because why wouldn't pictures? Why wouldn't they take evidence and things? It all seemed very, very strange.
But even if you thought she did something, why wouldn't you take pictures? Like, it seems strange that they didn't take pictures at all because, like, how do you prove your case? How do you prove your case if you don't have any evidence?
Yeah, and that's not just how do you prove you're innocent, that's how do you prove somebody's guilty, because neither of you have got any evidence. So it's just one word against another word, and that's sort of how it went for like quite a while, didn't it? It was just her word against his word against her.
Yeah.
Which was absolutely bonkers. Right, so we'll get back to it. So the kids are missing at this point. We have no idea where the kids are. They said that she was dressed to the nines, which is kind of irrelevant because even if your kids are missing, you don't necessarily lose yourself as such.
Yeah.
Some
people do, some people don't. Like, behaviors are different. There's a variety of behaviors that can be had.
Yeah, I mean, when I get panicked or nervous, I laugh.
Yeah.
So, I'd be sitting there, your kids are missing. That's hilarious. It's not, but that's my process. That's my coping mechanism.
Yeah.
And I think her coping mechanism was just go get ready, get yourself dressed, do your normal thing, and,
Yeah, keep it together. Keep it together.
Which is fine. Like, that's totally normal. Like, if you look at the character of a person prior to something happening, if they are very well put together, well kept, always do the hair, always do the makeup, if you didn't do that, that's when I'd start thinking, why have you suddenly changed? Because you're just carrying on in your normal day-to-day activities, which is not strange in itself.
Yeah.
The police obviously were going and looking for these kids, figuring out what the heck is going on because they just vanished. They called Eddie and he was like, no, I don't know anything. And I found him very strange because he was quiet as well.
Well, she called him and yelled at him because she thought that he had taken the kids again because he had previously taken the kids to his mother-in-law's house.
Yeah, when she was on the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is fine. I mean, I'm totally with him on that one. You know, he should have taken the kids, which is fine.
But I can understand why she's calling him and yelling at him, because you did it again, god damn it, and you didn't tell me anything. This is what she's thinking. He wasn't freaking out. And there's no point in the story does she say that he was concerned about it. Like, he didn't seem, she did, but he didn't really.
If you tell someone that the children's missing and they kind of react with, oh, okay, you know something. You know where these kids are because you're not worried about them.
Yeah.
She was still quite panicked. And then obviously, was it 2 days later that they found Alice, the baby Alice?
Yeah, I believe so.
Police officer who, because he said, oh, I'm going to test her. I'm going to test her. That was the most
There are tests that can be had, sir. That is just cruel.
He took this poor woman who's got 2 children missing. Everybody's firing at her. You know, it's you. And for the most part, it was because she enjoyed having sex with men.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely nothing to do with proof, nothing to do with evidence, nothing to do with the fact that your kids are missing. It was just, oh, well, you're a bit of a, quote unquote, tramp, was what they described her as.
Yeah.
You must have done it. You must be a murderer because you enjoy sex. Like, no, that's not how that works. And they took this poor woman in the car to where Alice's body had been found, and she was strangled with her pajama top. So, like, Alice has probably bought her daughter, obviously, the pajamas that she's now looking down at and realizing this is my child. And he just walked her straight up to her. And there you go. No warning at all. Absolutely horrific.
I could not even imagine.
But they said, oh, you know, she was in the back of the police car coming home. So she'd been and she'd seen the daughter, obviously passed away on the floor, strangled, whatever. They've put her back in the back of a police car and they're like, oh, she didn't even cry. And I'm like, maybe, just maybe, that's because you absolutely shocked her to her core and she just went into oblivion for a little bit. The same, if you find someone passed away in such a horrific way and you didn't even get a warning that that's what you were going to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it was the most horrific part of that story, I think, is doing that to someone. Eddie's still missing. And I think
there was no sexual assault on the child.
Yes, that's quite important, actually. No sexual assault was found. Eddie was found, I think it was 5 days later that Eddie was found.
Yeah.
But Eddie was, unfortunately, in such a state that he couldn't, you know, they couldn't figure out a cause of death because he was so decomposed. I don't know where he was. It seemed like he was just off a trail, just off like a road.
Yeah, he was in the bushes of a trail.
It was a bit of a way away from where Alice was found as well, baby Alice. So
yeah, well, Alice was found in a parking lot.
And then they assumed, this is the bit that annoyed me, you never assume with death. And they just went, oh, well, yeah, we assume that he died roughly the same time as Alice did. And you're like, can you guarantee me that? Or is there like a big window of, you know, possibly it was 2 days later? Because if it was later, it couldn't have been Alice Senior because she was being held by police.
Yeah.
It was as if they kind of made a decision that she did it. And we're not even going to bother looking into the rest of this. We're just going to pin you for it.
Yeah.
Every little turn of this story, it was like, oh, let's go back to Alice. It's got nothing to do with Alice. Like, what about having a discussion with the husband? What was he doing? Tried to Google this dude. There is nothing about him. It is so secretive, and I'm like, is he part of something bigger that, you know, that maybe they were hiding him or protecting him or something? I don't know. Because the police didn't do anything about him saying he used to show himself to young children, well, not young children, but young girls. That was still a crime back then. Why was that not looked into? I feel like a lot of this was a cover-up. because I mean, it was back in the 60s, of course, but
Yeah.
even at 5 days, where is this? Is he being in a swamp? You know, was it waterlogged? Was it, because after 5 days in a dry area, you should still be able to see how somebody's died. It all seemed very hush hush.
Yeah, and if it would have been scavenged by animals, it wouldn't be in the bush.
No, it would have been
Like
dragged.
they would have dragged it away.
They found his body, and obviously they went and told Alice and was like, "Hey, we found your son's body and everything." But then they instantly went for her. That's the bit that sort of did me, because there's zero proof. There was nothing at all. There was that freaking neighbor with, you know, she had something that basically said that she made up stories. She was a fantasist, something.
Mm-hmm.
So this woman is like diagnosed as a fantasist. Her friends said she's a liar, and she likes to, you know, embellish stories and make stories a little bit better. Her story changed numerous times, yet you still took her as a witness.
Yeah, a credible witness. Like,
yeah. If I was on the jury, I'd have been like, nope, nope. She ended up coming forward, and she was like, "Oh, hey, you know, I heard this conversation between a man and a woman at night, and I think she was 200 feet away."
Yeah.
There is no way you can hear someone talking.
Yeah, not even with acoustics. The acoustics are really good. No, sorry. That's not happening.
Did I have a megaphone? Oh, it was the most stupidest answer though, and people were like, "Oh yeah, the acoustics." Like, no, not the acoustics. There is no acoustics. It's the middle of a road. If I stood on the road and sort of went, "Hi, Stephanie," I still think you'd be like, "What?"
There's no way.
In hushed tones. So that's sort of going, "Oh, Stephanie, quick, let's run away." There is no way that you hear that. Got some superhuman hearing. She must have. But they still took her as a credible witness, which was absolutely delusional, in my opinion.
Well, I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that she was so fantastical in her storytelling. She was such a good storyteller that people were clinging onto it. And they're like, "Oh, she's so good she knows everything. She must be telling the truth."
They wanted it to be true. They were like, "Yes, let's do that." Because the thing is, if it was true, then obviously she would have gone down for it. But it just made no sense. And then, like, when they finally found all the bodies and everything, Alice and Eddie moved back in together, didn't they, for a little bit? They sort of...
Yeah. I was like, why?
Yes. Very strange. Very strange.
And I thought maybe it was just optics to like so that like the tabloids and stuff would leave her alone.
Yeah. Maybe
but then she still had boyfriends. So that was a little bit.
I feel like Eddie kind of dealt with it. Like
he pushed his way in. He pushed his way in. He said, "It's going to look good if me and you are living together while you're going through your trial. So let's do that."
Be absolutely shitting myself, because everybody's coming at me. I've got no one on my side. So like if my ex was like, "Oh yeah, you can live with me," I'd be like, "Okay, yeah," because somebody to support me.
Yeah. I feel bad for her too. The first trial was comprised of 12 men.
All
there
men.
were no women on the jury.
Yep, not a single juror was a woman. And
so how are you being tried by a trial by your peers when there are no women and you're a woman?
And they were all like upstanding, sort of middle-aged white men.
Conservative.
Why? Yes, all of them are the same. So every single one of you think that women should be sitting at home. So I'm dead. I'm screwed. Yep. No matter what proof I've got. Thing for me from Alice was the fact that Alice said that baby Alice had eaten, what did she say? Like potatoes
veal.
Or something?
Veal. They had veal.
But when they checked the contents of the baby Alice's stomach, she had the macaroni. Why lie about what you fed the kid? Because it's irrelevant.
I don't know if it's necessarily a lie. Maybe they had veal the night before and they're coming at her with all of these fucking questions. Her kids are missing. She's like, whatever. And she just misspoke. Because that could be very true for a lot of the things in this case.
Like, what did you have for dinner last Saturday?
I don't have any idea.
Exactly. So it's like I couldn't.
And then when you're stressed out, like I have been in moments where I was stressed out and they said, "What did we have for dinner last night?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Leave me alone."
Leave me alone. I don't want to talk about dinner. It's fine.
I don't even want to know what we're having for dinner tonight. Leave me alone.
It went from one extreme to another extreme, and at this point, the kids are dead. She's been taken, and they're going through this trial. She's had this stupid ass neighbor woman going, "Oh yes, I heard your conversation from all this distance away." Okay, totally believe that. And then there was the, oh no, she was in the second trial, because when it came to the second trial, there was like some other rando woman who everyone was like, "Who the hell are you?" She just popped up out of nowhere, which kind of made me feel like she might have been a paid actor.
She didn't hear shit. She seen something and she made up the words.
Yeah, she definitely made up the words. 100% made up the words. Because the words changed as well, like a little bit, and that's where I sort of went, this is not true. If you keep adding to the story, it's not true. It might have been.
As soon as she said there was a lady with dark hair in the note that she wrote, it was a lady with dark hair. And then, and then it's, oh no, it's definitely her.
She said, she was like, "Oh, they were under a street light. I could see them because she was under a street light." So why was her hair brown in the note and all of a sudden red in the trial?
Yeah. The lady that came in last minute, I'm sure that she did open her curtains and see these two people with children walking down the street. I'm just glad that they got the guy who was walking with his wife down the street. That's a miracle.
How did they get that? Because Alice stood and she told the press, and she was like, "I'm going to do this." And they even threatened her and said, if she does anything like that again, you'd be like held in contempt and you'd get sent down and everything. Yeah. But that literally saved her neck, pretty much. The guy, "Oh, that was me and my family. Like, there was nothing weird in that." Oh, it was just bizarre. And then, so like during the second trial, when that other woman came and she said that she'd seen the family with the dog, they were assuming that was Alice. But then the thing that really wound me up is the boyfriend that she had the day prior asked her to marry him. She said no, and then the day after he was like, "Oh yeah, she admitted to me that she'd killed the daughter." No, she didn't. Just so you could get a plea deal to get out of your shit. Don't throw me under the bus. Don't be throwing me under the bus. No way.
Now I want to know if his team asked him about his plea.
Yeah, because they seem
because if the jury didn't know that he had a plea, they might have believed him.
I think they did believe him, to be honest. Because I don't think that was ever said. I don't think they said, "Oh, by the way, we've given him a lesser sentence if he says this." Of course he's going to say it then, even if it isn't true.
So she gets convicted. They convict her on manslaughter. They can't convict her on murder because they can't prove that Ed Jr. It can't be proven that he was murdered. So they couldn't charge him. So they only charged her with manslaughter for the little girl. And I don't remember what she was sentenced. Was she sentenced to life?
So she was, I think it was a life sentence for whatever. And then she was in jail for like 2 days. And then like one of the most prolific lawyers who was like so well known and everything, he was like, "Nah, something's wrong with this story." And he offered his services for pro bono, like free. After they read the verdict, she went into a coma. Yeah, you can't fake a coma. You cannot fake a coma.
It's the weirdest. I was like, wait, what? She just went into a coma? What kind of soap opera shit is that?
I think because just everything going on, the kids were dead, husband's not doing anything, boyfriend's turned against me, everybody's against me.
Yeah.
I think she just sort of, like, her body just went into like a state of shock and went, you were either going to have to go into a coma or you will die. Like, she was going to have a heart attack with all this shit going on.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
I loved him for that, because like, he didn't need to do that, but he saw that this was a total bullshit scam of a trial, and he was like, yeah, this is a load of crap. Like, she's not done anything wrong. And he knew this. Like, everybody knew it, but they didn't want to know it because she was a quote-unquote tramp, and nobody wanted to be affiliated with the tramp. But yeah, it was during the second trial that the random woman came out who said she saw the guy with the dog.
Yeah.
Then he came and he was like, yep, that was us. So that kind of cut that out. But there was a point that the guy was making, and I can't remember what it was. Oh, he was talking to the woman who said she'd heard. So he cross-examined her, and he was asking her like detailed questions to like see what her answer would be. And I think because she'd sort of rehearsed the story again and again and again, when he started asking them questions, she was like, shit. Yeah. And that's when people started going, that's true. You know, that's a bit strange. Maybe she couldn't hear. We've been wrong this whole freaking time. They did the whole trial again. It came back as guilty. That's when she fell into the coma. She did like 2 months in jail, but then the county revoked it.
So they charged her, the second time they charged her with murder for Ed.
In the first degree.
Yeah.
So that was obviously like a massive shock, because genuinely I thought that was going to be it. I thought she was going to get off, happy story, whatever. But then...
Yeah, so did I.
And then...
It's like, when is this story going to end? Halfway through, I'm thinking it's over, and I look at the time, I was like, this story's an hour? It's over an hour long?
It was an hour and 16 minutes, because I kept looking at it, and I was like, this keeps going and going.
Yeah.
All that stuff. She's got convicted. She ends up going into a coma, and then I think she was in the coma for about a week. She was in the hospital, like the prison hospital. Then they put her back in the prison. So in the prison, apparently she was doing quite well. Good on her. So she's doing quite well in prison. And then it was either, I can't remember if it was the state or the county that re-looked at the conviction and overturned it. So she didn't actually, at that point, they said, oh no, this is fine, you can leave. So she got took out of prison, happy days. But then they revoked the manslaughter charge, so she ended up going back again for the manslaughter thing. Yeah, because they
took there was no evidence that could prove that the boy was even murdered, so they had to take that away. The in and out of the prison system, I was like, what do you mean?
You can leave.
You can't be going back and forth like this.
Yeah, like I didn't. Did I do it? Am I staying? Did I not do it? Can I leave? Like, just make a decision.
She did get to get married to her boyfriend.
What was his name?
Guy who kind of looked like Walt Disney.
Well, yeah, a little bit.
Handsome Walt Disney. And he was wealthy, so...
Again, it was all in the papers, oh, mother who killed children, and it's like, no, mother who didn't kill children, she didn't... I don't know, I feel like this whole story, there's been someone sitting somewhere just laughing at the fact that they've got away with this horrific murder of 2 children. I don't for a second believe it was her, I don't for a second believe it was Eddie Sr. I think it was just someone who...
You don't think it was Eddie Sr.?
No, I actually don't. No, because the thing is, he cared a lot about them children. Why, because he knew he could get them. He knew that he could fight her for custody and they'd be his kids. Why would he kill them?
I wonder if it was an accident.
Like killing the daughter was an accident, and then they just kind of went.
No, I think the son got killed first.
Possibly.
Maybe he was like fighting or something, getting in the, like when they picked him up. I don't think he did it. I think he had somebody do it.
Well, when you think about this was one that kind of stuck out to me as well. When he was, he'd gone to like the pub or the bar or wherever he'd gone, and he wasn't, because everyone used to say he was quite a quiet guy, and all of a sudden he was like, "Hi everyone, I'm in this bar," and it's as if he was like making himself obvious that he was there, like he was giving himself an alibi.
Yeah.
And that, especially if you're, normally quite a quiet character, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Hi, everyone!" Like,
Well, I think that he had something to do with it. Maybe there was an accident. One of the kids got killed. Something happened to the little boy, so they got rid of him. And then they had the little girl and didn't know what to do with the little girl, so they choked her.
It seems a very strange thing to use the child's pajamas to strangle them.
They want to kill the kid, but they had to because they were an accessory to the crime. And somebody said, if you don't get rid of the body, because now we're here, if you don't get rid of the girl, we're all going to be fucked.
All very strange. Like, part of me thinks that it was just someone random.
Could be, but they would have had to have known that the kids were in that room. They would have had to have been watching them.
Maybe.
And the husband was already watching them, so don't you think he would have noticed somebody watching them?
So what if, rando theory, maybe Eddie paid someone to kill the children. And when he was in the bar, doing the whole, "Hi everyone, I'm over in the bar," like, there's no reason for you to be yelling at people that you're in a bar, but you've given yourself an alibi for when a dude goes to kill your children, because then you physically can't be it, because I was in that bar and there's about 50 witnesses. So maybe he paid someone to do it. But then again, why would he pay to have the children done?
Maybe he didn't pay someone to kill the kids. Maybe he paid someone to kidnap the kids, and the kids died.
Wow.
And he's already got like this whole thing with exposing himself to young girls, so he can't get in any trouble. So he's like, okay, get rid of the kid. Because I definitely think he would be the type that would, oh, I'm going to get at her. The kids are, I don't think the kids were really important to him as much as getting at her.
He was just really bitter, I think, from the get-go. Like, it's the fact that your wife doesn't want to be your wife anymore. She wants to go out and, have fun with other guys and see what's out there and all that sort of stuff, which is fine. People do that. That's thingy, but why the kids? Hurt her.
You know what? She was really a good mom. She got them a babysitter when she went out and did things. She didn't, it wasn't like, we have heard a lot of stories where we locked them in the bathroom while we went out and partied for 3 days. She left them with someone. She was being responsible. She was a really good, she was a good mom. I don't know, really good, because she locked the door so that chubby Eddie wouldn't get to the food.
Maybe, thinking about it, maybe she did that as like a protection thing, because I think part of her was scared of Eddie Sr.
Yeah. And she's, because of the acne scars and everything, she's very conscious about her appearance. And she's always put together. So her children being an extension of that would make a lot of sense. She doesn't want, he may not be fat, but she calls him chubby because that's the way she perceives him, because she's concerned about it.
Yeah. Like, I don't want you to get fatter, so I'm going to call you chubby now.
Yeah.
I can see that. But I still don't understand, though, the window. Like, if you close the window, but then at the same time, would you remember specifically closing the window?
I think that the fact that she was like, it's summer, there are bugs. There is a hole in the screen. I'm definitely closing the window. You would remember closing the window.
Yeah. I don't know. Since the very start of the story, I think that the police just had it out for Alice because they were like, "You are a promiscuous woman. This is not a time that you are allowed to be a promiscuous woman. It's you."
Yeah.
And I think they missed a lot of stuff, like a lot of evidence that could have been used, a lot of pictures that could have been used.
Yep.
Dusting for fingerprints, that wasn't done. If you think someone's come through a window, you dust for some fingerprints.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel sorry for her though. Like I felt sorry for her the whole story actually, because she was really targeted by every single person that could have possibly had anything to do with this investigation.
Yeah. It was very heartbreaking. I feel so bad that those kids didn't ever get the closure. Like, there was no justice for them. They never found the killer. The police didn't do their jobs.
No, they didn't.
And
Absolutely.
that happens a lot.
Even to this day.
If somebody would have done their job correctly, I think that they could have found who did it.
I mean, obviously nowadays, like, you can get a time of death pretty close, to the hour kind of thing. We can magical things nowadays. But even in the 60s, I don't believe it.
We didn't hear anything about the stomach content, so the stomach content must have been scavenged away.
Yeah, possible.
And the organ
say it because it happened to contain veal. I don't know. I don't know.
They also didn't mention when the kids were last seen.
No. They said that she saw them last, but obviously she saw them last because she put them to bed. So of course she's going to see them last.
Yeah, but if she's guilty, if nobody else seen them that day, or nobody had seen them for a week or 4 days, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that would explain more of a decomposed body. Yeah. Doesn't really explain the girl being 2 days after. I don't see any way you get to she murdered them.
No.
There's not even a motive.
I don't see any part of it that's her, but I can see it.
No, I can't. I can't see any part of it being her. I can totally see it being him.
Yeah.
And the police being incompetent didn't help.
Oh, the police ruined it. She got released though, didn't she? In 72, I think it was.
77, I think she got permanently released, and but while she was in prison, she got married.
Yeah.
So
they tried to do it again. They tried to get her for it again, like to send her down for longer or something. But a lot of the prosecution was based on the fact that she was quite a promiscuous woman. Come 1977, after all the women's rights movements and all that jazz, it was just like, yes, that's a woman wanting to have sex with people, like that's fine. And they couldn't use that against her anymore. So I think that really helped her case in this time, because it was like,
absolutely.
What are you going to say?
Evidence. There was nothing.
Zero evidence at all. And it was just because she was promiscuous. And it's like, really? That doesn't make you a murderer.
And she has to live with the fact that her children's case will never be solved.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think is she like 87 now or something? She's still alive.
Yeah. I have no idea. I can't do math. Not like that.
That was a crazy, crazy story.
Yes, it was.
So we managed to do our makeup.
Yes, we have. I mean, I don't have my brows, but I don't think I'm going to do them today. I think they're fine. Well, because I'll take pictures and then I'll be like, those look very, very non-apparent. So let's do some real quick.
Need my brows. Oh, well, this was fun. This was a fun one to talk about.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was enjoyable.
That's still the wrong word, isn't it?
We've seen a lot of suspicious stuff today.
We're like, we'd have done it with our hands, not the pajamas. Like, what are you talking about, guys?
Obviously, you don't watch true crimes. We just come with prepared facts, okay?
We're ready. We're ready for it.
Right, it was so good talking with you, and I'm so glad that I got to do this banter with you. You have a wonderful day, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.